You're, just sit down there for a second, wherever you feel comfortable. All right, everyone. Why not? Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Eveinu Aleichem. Eveinu Shalom. Shalom. Shalom Aleichem. Eveinu Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Eveinu Shalom Aleichem. Eveinu Shalom, Shalom Aleichem. Yes, please, Joanne. Joanne is one of our teachers on Sunday, and she's going to lead us on page 120 in the Blessing for the Candles.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'halak ner shel Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat. And should I read? Oh, those are before. Oops. Should I read the other page? Even though it says before. Okay.
Go ahead. If you want to
Okay.
read it.
As the Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Okay, amen.
Amen. Toda rabah. Ta Adonai Eloheinu melech asher kitshanu otav vetzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. We turn to page 138 for Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi. For those of you who aren't familiar, we do the first and the last verses.
And Rabbi, we haven't done it with your beautiful melody for a while.
Oh.
Would you mind if we did?
I don't mind at all.
And we would go.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala, lai la la lai la 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 lai, Penei Shabbat nekabela, lai la la lai la la lai, Shahamor וזכור בדיבור אחד, ישמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, להשם ולתפארת ולתהילה. אחד דודי לקראת כלה, לילה 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 לילה, פני שבת נקבלה, לילה לילה לילה. בואי ושלום, העטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה לקראת כלה, לילה לה לילה לה 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 לה, פני שבת נקבלה, לילה לה לילה לה לה. Okay, and we turn to page 142, and we have the extra page of the Shalom Aleichem. Everybody should have that now. It's either in your book or in the pew.
I'm all over the place.
Shalom Aleichem. Let's go nice and allegro. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Let me just get my keys.
Okay.
So I was right, please review it. C minor, thank you. Ready?
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu ni leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Teichem leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, and to all our friends as well. Welcome, angels on high. Come and join us at our Shabbat table. Cup of joy. Come join our singing. Let your spirit soar with us. Together we will rise tonight. When we gather, fellowship and joy abound. Love and peace are filling our hearts. And we have our announcements right now. I guess it's you, Eileen. Considering that Ira is,
He'll be here Sunday, he chose one day.
I see.
Yeah, right. Okay, our big announcement, okay, Sunday school this Sunday, but our big announcement is Sunday night, we have a special guest author. Her name is Elaine Franklin, she wrote a book, we will have books here, if anybody wants to buy one, if you don't, just show up, I don't care if you buy a book. And Buddy is supplying stuff from Portos, that should be a draw. It's at 7 o'clock, and it shouldn't go too late, and also she has a daughter who writes children's books, and so yes, she's coming too. And she's really nice, I talked to her on the phone, the book is Once Upon a Time in Beverly Hills. And the thing is kind of be careful what you wish for.
Okay. Well, we continue on page 146 with the Baruch Hu, and Marley's going to open the ark for us. Go ahead, babe. Yeah, when you come up here, just open her right up. No hesitations. Please go. Lie, la 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 la. Lie, la 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 la. Lie, la 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 la. Lie, la 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 la. Lie, la 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 la. Lie, la 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 la. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Vaed HaMevorach HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. We turn to page 152 where we say the Shema. Finn, come join so you can do the Ahab. Okay. Here, how about right here? Okay, we go like this, guys. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. We continue with the Ve'ahavta on page 154. And Marla, you can close that. And Finn is going to lead us in the Ve'ahavta. Yeah, you can close it. Everybody can sit. And Finn, go ahead, babe. It's right here. Ve'ahavta. Okay. You want to use this?
Sure.
Ve'ahavta.
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמן. Okay. You can learn a lot. Isn't that great? I'm so proud of Finn. Okay. Okay, good job. We are continuing with Micha Mocha on page 158. Yai bye 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 yabba bye bye bim bam. Yai bye 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 yabba bye bye bim bam. Yai bye 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 yabba bye bye bim bam. Yai bye 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 yabba bye bye bim bam. Mi chamochan bailim Adonai. Mi kamocha neda bakodesh. Nora tehilot sefele, Nora tehilot sefele, and bye bye bim bim bam, yabba bye bye bim bam, yai bye bye bim bim bam, yabba bye bye bim bam, yai bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bim bam, yai bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bim bam, ma'alechutecha rau. Vanecha, Bokei Hayam Lifne Moshe Umiriam, Zeeli Anu Ve'amru, Adonai Imloch Leolam Va'ed. Yai bye. Yai bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bim bam. Yai bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye bim bam. Yai bye 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 bye, yabba bye bye. Venemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov, ugealo miad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai. Gal Yisrael. Amen. And now we have our prayer, which starts Ribono Shel Olam. Does everybody have that? We had it the first time last week. I wrote it last Friday. And so here we are. Ribono Shel Olam, ruler of all that is good in our world, what has happened to the ones who are making decisions in our country? What has changed their minds to create more pain, hunger, hurt, and anger among us, the citizens of our great and noble country? Please, God, do not abandon us in our time of need. There are people who are refashioning rules, structure, and long agreed upon norms to convert our land of the free to the home of the oppressed. There are those with the intent to support a small cadre of men who think they are the only ones who deserve a good life with choices, medical care, education, and even a place to call home. They are stealing our very way of life to ensure their right to rule us, as though we were serfs of old, taking away our very dignity that we hold so dear. Help us to remain vigilant in the face of this inhumanity and blatant bullying of the powerless. Help us to find the power that we do have to combat this onslaught of disregard for your children of faith. We care for the poor and hungry. We care for the sick of heart and body. We are on the side of justice and all the goodness we have come to rely on from our traditions and customs that we have gleaned from your Torah and our history of overcoming hate and evil intent. We recognize that there are those who intend to push us back to a time when all power was in the hands of the few. We have seen what happens when threats override the good, replacing it with arrogance and disregard. Our world is on the precipice of the death of compassion. There is a growing blindness to the pain of others and an expanding deference to those with wealth and the power. Please, God, help us find the strength and fortitude to weather this storm and emerge victorious, creating anew the world that will find favor in your eyes. Amen. We continue on page 162 with Vishamru. Vishamru is the top paragraph. And of course, Vishamru is telling us all the things that we need to do to keep the Sabbath. Veshamru v'nei Yisrael et HaShabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. I'd like to introduce a new song today. It's actually not new. The lyrics were written in the 1700s. Not too soon, is it? Not too soon. The words are, and they're written by the way, Rabbi Nachman of Breslav, of Bratslav. The whole world is like a narrow bridge. Now that's scary, right? A narrow bridge can be very scary. And then he says, the essence is not to be afraid. Okay? So yeah, we're walking on narrow bridges a lot, especially these days. But we got to keep taking steps and moving forward. That's what Rabbi Nachman tells us. So it goes like this. Kol haolam kulo gesher tsar me'od, gesher tsar me'od. You can join in. Gesher tsar me'od. Same thing again. Kol haolam kulo gesher tsar me'od, gesher tsar me'od. Okay, now you have to listen. Mehaikar, mehaikar, lo lefached, לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל. Faster. והעיקר, faster, לא לפחד כלל, והעיקר. העיקר לא לפחד כלל. Okay. We'll work on that. It'll get better and better. And next time you'll have a copy so you can see the words, okay? Yeah, sorry about that. But at least now you know the tune. Okay, good. So, okay, we're going to take a moment now for, you could put your book down for our moment of Torah. Mishpatim is our Torah portion. That's right, it means law. And the first two words of this portion say, Ve'ela hamishpatim, and these are the statutes, the laws. Now, the fact that there's an extra vav, ve'ela, and these are the laws, it emphasized that the laws were given at Sinai just as the Ten Commandments. For the essence of the Torah is to create a mensch. That's what it's all about. To create a mensch, the more human you are, the more Jewish you are. Our faith is not restricted to the spiritual realm. It deals with financial and material concerns that people face every day, and that the everyday interrelationships between people are also religious issues. So you can be Jewish in the grocery store, walking on the street, going to the auto mechanic. Anywhere you are dealing with human beings, and you can bring that spark of goodness wherever you go. So the Jewish legal system is juxtaposed with religious laws and the Ten Commandments because without one, the other doesn't work. Religion without legal ethics and legalism without religion, it can be disastrous. The Parsha begins with the criminal and impoverished because the test of a just society is how it treats the powerless. There are many examples of those who attempt to uphold laws that are oppressive to others, those who want to control at all costs, and those who do not care for the rights of those whom they perceive to be in opposition to their own personal way of thinking. The Jewish way integrates law and religion. Religion applies to every part of life, and where it shines the most is in the every dealing with our fellow human beings and how it treats, again, those without power. The Jewish legal system, therefore, starts out with the law of the Hebrew servant, listing his and her rights and responsibilities of the person who is their master. The Torah mentions no less than 42 times that we were slaves in Egypt, and therefore we should not enslave others. We know how bad that is. Our Torah states that one could become a Hebrew slave only in two ways. If you were poor and could not pay off a debt that you owe, this is a way to work it off. That's in Leviticus 25, chapter 25, and it says, "And if you stole from someone and did not have the money to repay, the court appointed you to pay off what you stole by working for that person." In reality, the Torah has made the slave into a hired worker since the Torah excluded the Hebrew people from slavery. We're actually not allowed to become a slave. But this was a way for the guilty to reach a state of penitence by living with the family that he might have harmed and observing their humanity. He may observe their attachment to the object that he might have stolen. Sometimes there's a powerful connection between a person and their possession. Like, for instance, if you were a poor person and you broke into the house of a rich person who has many knickknacks around the house, a vase that is lalique, a Rolex watch, a very beautiful tapestry, you might think, oh, I could get money for that. And you might steal it. But on the other hand, maybe that vase was given to the family by the grandma who brought it over from France in 1890. And maybe that Rolex watch was a gift from the grandfather who bought it on the occasion of who knows what and handed it down to his son, who handed it down to his grandson. So it's very easy to discount other people's feelings. But in our Torah, we're told over and over again to really pay attention to the feelings and the soul and the heart of others, and not to create things that make people sad, basically. Because when you do that, you bring the world down, okay? Okay, so for instance, the slavery laws are very protective of the dignity of the servant, to the degree that the sages say, he who hires a Hebrew servant hires a master. For example, the Talmud says that if the actual master refused to give the slave proper food, which includes giving him the best bread and the best wine. No, you can't give him the spoiled bread and the old wine. No, you have to give him exactly the same as what you would give your family. And if you imposed tasks upon him that hurt his dignity, even by saying, put on my shoes, or insulted him or beat him, then the law court, which was called Beit Din, we still have Beit Din today, which means the house of judgment, would immediately free the servant. That would be the end of their servitude, because it isn't okay to take away a person's dignity. The servant also could not be a personal servant, to stand by the master's bed and do his bidding day and night. No, but they would be enjoined to serve the master with their usual occupation. If they were a farmer, they would do farming. If they took care of the animals, they would be the shepherd or whatever it was. And the servant can only work for 6 years. He could leave any time his debt is repaid, or if the master dies, or if the Jubilee year comes. Do you know about the Jubilee year? Okay, every 7 is the sabbatical year, and every 50 years, 7 times 7 is 49. The 50th year is the Jubilee year. And at that time, all debts were forgiven. And if a person had sold off the land that he inherited from his fathers at the time, remember when the Israelites entered the land of Israel and they each got their inheritance, the tribe of this, the tribe of that, each family got a little piece of land and so on. If that land had been sold off sometime during those 49 years, in the 50th year, it was supposed to revert back to the family so that the family would have their inheritance. And so that the land of the Holy Land would always belong to the descendants of the people of Israel. That was the law at the time. So it wasn't like how we have a punitive system where, you stole, therefore you go to prison, your life's worth nothing, you do nothing, or else you work for 35 cents an hour. I don't know. They have those, the prisoners work, and they give them some little tiny amount that is just not commensurate with any kind of salary, but they get something so that they can pay for their snacks, basically. And, but no, this is a system of rehabilitation, because you would have to live with the family that you wronged, and you would come to know them as you repaid your debt. And so, hopefully, good feelings would prevail between you, and when you left, you would leave as friends, not as enemies, and not as the servant. So This type of religious ethic and sensitivity is what led to a respect for the law and property, to the extent that a few thousand years ago, when people would go up to Jerusalem for their annual holiday pilgrimage, remember, there were three every year. You know them: Pesach, Shavuot, right? And Sukkot. Those are the three pilgrimage festivals. In Hebrew, we call them shalosh regalim. That means the three legs. Isn't that funny? Hebrew has some, certain conventions. The three legs. It means when you use your legs and you march up to the Temple Mount in Jerusalem, and you bring your sacrifice, which not only does that give the priests and the poor people some, but the rest is given back to the family, and they go have an amazing feast. They bring their tents, the whole family. Anyway, they would leave their homes, and there would be no one to guard the homes, but people were so into the laws of the land that no one would harm the empty houses at all. And they would come back to their place exactly intact as it was. So, anyway, back to our laws. So first, it describes the laws of punishment for murder and other capital offenses such as kidnapping, striking a parent. That could have been a capital offense. The idea of honoring your father and mother was so strong that you really weren't allowed to dishonor them unless they told you to do something that was not legal or correct. If that were true, then you have the right to disobey. But as the text continues, we also find out that you're responsible for inadvertent things that you do. Like in the Talmud, there's a very famous case of a man who's chopping wood, and the axe blade falls off of his axe handle, and it sails over, and it hits somebody on the head and kills him. So that's not exactly murder. However, the death is on your head, and you have to make restitution, even though you did not intend any harm. So we find out we're also liable for the things that we cause, even if we didn't have evil intent. I think they call that manslaughter in our society today. Is that true, Margaret?
It wasn't even thought of, like, you didn't
No.
go and like go out of control and kill someone. That was an accident.
Yes, it was an accident,
But
but you're liable.
Has an action for hurting somebody.
Right.
It would just be an accident, but you're saying it's different.
Well, what I'm saying is that the Torah held that person accountable. Yes. Also, if you had an ox and your ox gored somebody, then you are responsible for that as well. And if the person who was hurt by your ox needs to spend several months in bed recuperating, then you have to do his work for him. You have to take care that his family is okay, because if he is the only breadwinner, then you have to supply his family with whatever it was that he supplied them with. And also, and even out and until, if there is an orphan or a widow in your midst, you do not allow them to go without food or a cloak to keep them warm at night, or a place to sleep. Everybody is entitled to all of those things, and all of us have to take care that those basic needs are taken care of. You know, there is one sentence in this Torah portion that is so out from all of the other sentences in the whole Torah that I have ever read. I'm going to read it for you. You think about it and think about What's so different about this sentence from all other sentences in the Torah that you've heard? Okay. By the way, it's chapter 24, verse 10, right in the middle of our Torah portion. Quote, and they saw the God of Israel. Oh, I have to give you the context. Who's they? That was the 70 elders, Moses, Aaron, and his two sons, Abab and Abihu. Aaron and his two sons were the priests. Moses, of course, the leader, and the 70 elders were at that time the judges, because Moses had been told by Jethro, remember, a few weeks ago, to appoint 70 elders to help him with all the adjudication that had to happen. And all of them went up Mount Sinai about halfway up. And then this sentence happens. And they saw the God of Israel, and there was under God's feet, as it were, a paved street of sapphire. That's a bright blue stone, sapphire. As it were, the body of heaven, like the sky in its clarity. Think about that. It's a vision of God standing with feet and on a road of sapphire, just like a vision, like a mystical vision. And then God talks to that little body of people that I spoke to you about, the 70 elders, Moses, Aaron, and his two sons. And he tells them all to stay right there, and that Moses is going to go all the way up to the top of Mount Sinai, where he's going to talk with him, with God, okay? And that's when Moses went up, and he spent 40 days and 40 nights up on the top of Mount Sinai, where he got the 10 Commandments and more. So I offer that to you as a mystical vision, and I have a feeling that people might have a dream about that. Tell me if you do. Okay, there are two sets of laws that are inspiring. The first is not oppressing others with words or money. Do not vex or oppress the stranger, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt. One is commanded to exercise self-control just where temptation is the greatest, in relations with the weak and defenseless. In other words, bullying is not allowed, okay? Anybody who's a bully is stepping outside of what is okay. Anybody. What did you want to say?
Make that a crime,
It is a crime.
and it should be punished with some kind of judgment.
Yes, it should be punished. Like for instance, but how do you punish a bully? They do it with such arrogance and such vanity and such narcissism. People who practice that kind of disgusting behavior they feel entitled somehow. And, there's a show on TV. I don't like the show, but they sort of deal with this a little bit. It's called What Would You Do? Have you seen that with Quinones and Sarah Berman? Yeah, Sarah, not Berman, Sarah, the one from The View, that beautiful blonde lady? Sarah Haynes, thank you. And, I don't like it because it feels like people are being set up and so on. But it is kind of very cool when people come in and they say, hey, buddy, you can't talk to somebody like that, and that's really what we should do. Now, a lot of bullies might be willing to hurt you, and you don't want to get hurt. So don't do that. You have to assess the situation, and you have to make sure you're surrounded by other people, and that you're not going to put yourself into a situation where that person could punch you or hurt you. But anytime you can stand up for the person who needs protection, I enjoin you to do it. But keep your own safety in mind. Don't be foolish. Yes.
Well, it's good to remember that
Yes.
especially kids. They found that kids that bully other children were bullied themselves.
Yeah. I saw a guy, I'm not going to mention his name, with a chainsaw on a podium this week at CPAC. Let's not mention his name. And that to me is a bully. Why would you bring a chainsaw? And, there's one reason. I want to scare you. I want to intimidate you. I want you to know that I'm the one in power and you're not. Okay? This Torah portion was written for guys like that. And you got to know that we have to keep our eye on what's going on and do whatever we can to bring the good and to bring righteousness and rightness. Every little bit helps. Okay, the second kind of laws were about animals, and that we must always keep the welfare of animals in our mind. For instance, if you see a donkey that is laboring under too much of a burden, you must take some weight off of him. And especially if it's time to unload that burden, you help your neighbor, whoever it is, you help him unload it quicker so that you can help the animal to not have pain. But if there's two animals that need to be helped, and one animal belongs to your enemy and one belongs to your friend, then guess what the Torah tells you? Yes, you help the donkey of your enemy. Why? Because maybe you'll make a friend. And if you make a friend, then it makes the world less bad. You have made peace, and that is a helpful thing to have in the world. I know it's hard to have that in your mind, but imagine how an enemy would be, what? Why are you helping me? And then, well, maybe he's not so bad, and maybe next time when you need help, that enemy will help you, and then you won't have an enemy anymore. You'll have a friend. Very good. So the value of peacemaking through interaction and kindness is such an important mandate in healing our world from strife that the Torah emphasizes its pursuit at every opportunity. So just to sum up, may we all be strengthened to follow in the ways of Torah and bring peace to our world. And let us say, Amen. Okay, we continue now with the Mishaberach on page 371. And Marley's coming right up. And we rise for the Mishaberach, which is the prayer for healing. Yes. And go ahead, David. David's going to mention.
We ought to say some names.
Yeah, well, go for it.
Well, we have Isabel Gotti, who is recuperating from a fractured pelvis, and she's 4 weeks, about 5.5 weeks post-op, and she should be starting her therapy in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Baruch Hashem.
Yes, and may she have a complete healing. Anyone else would like to mention? Marley? Barbara Harmon? Lindsay Dietrich. Okay. Murray Meyer.
Maybe so.
Okay.
I know a whole bunch.
Yeah. Well, I think sadly we all do. Yeah. Batsheva, Chaim, Mendel Felix, Shlomo Simcha. Anyone else? Yes, May? Thank you. Joanne? Nikki Aronson? Eriton. Margaret? Elena Craig? Yes? Yes, Marcia Lubick. Okay. Okay, anybody else? I don't see you. If you're going to say something, I don't see you. No? Okay, okay. And all of those who need God's help with healing this week, everyone who has been hurt or has been ill and is looking to gain complete healing of mind, body, and spirit. Mi sheberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. We continue on page 586 with the Aleinu. 586. We remain standing for Aleinu. And this is the one that's over 3 pages. So, oh, it's 586. That's why I'm in the wrong place. There we are. You need to look along? Okay. Aleinu לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו, אין עוד, אמת מלכנו, אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבותה אל לבבך. כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. And we have now the Mourner's Kaddish, which is on page 598. And first we read the memorial list. Ilana Gleanert, Leona Zolman, Fran Bernstein, Joel Sussman, Gerald Rosenfeld, Ron Shankman, Ron Caden, Elsie Noodleman, Deborah Fischel, Beverly Craig, Lorinda Bray, and Scott Ringwelski. Also, the Yartsites, Nathan Rose, Frank Genereux, Dick Fishman. May their memories be for a blessing.
Rabbi,
Evelyn Dreyfus.
could you add my mother?
Yes.
Rosalie Hutter.
Rosalie?
Rosalie?
Rosalie Hutter. Thank you. Rosalie Hutter. Jeff Margolin, a friend of yours. Joanne?
Yeah, the Vivas children and the fear in Israel.
Oh, the children who were found, who were hostages.
Odette Lipschitz, who's like 80-something.
Yes. Oh. May their memories be for a blessing. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma dibra chiruteh ve'amlich malachuteh, b'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, b'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpo'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Vitadar, vitale, vitalal, shemei de kudesha, brichu, le'ela min kol berchata veshirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'yimru amen. Amen. And we can be seated. You can close the ark. Thank you, Marley. On page 603, we have the priestly blessing, which I would like to ask God's blessing over you. May God bless you and keep you. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, ken yehi ratzon. May God's light shine upon you. May God be gracious to you. Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka, ken yehi ratzon. May you feel God's presence within you always, and may you find peace. Yisa Adonai panav elecha, ve'asem lecha shalom, ken yehi ratzon. Robin, shall we sing our song? Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'yimru amen. Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. 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 Amen. And let's reconvene at the Oneg Shabbat, which, by the way, means pleasure for the Sabbath.